Welcome back, folks. This is Tom O'Brien of TFNN. Hope everyone's having a great day, safe day. We got a real treat for you today, folks. We are going over to Hollywood, Florida. We have our man, Mr. Nick Holland. Nick is the Chief Executive Officer of Gold Fields Limited. Now, Gold Fields, folks, is one of the largest gold companies in the world. They do business in Africa, Ghana, Australia. We're talking Europe, North Africa, South America. When we talk about ounces in reserves, pretty amazing. 80.6 million ounces in reserves, a cash flow of $752 million U.S. They're unhedged. I want to welcome back Nick Holland to TFNN. Nick, how you doing?
Very good. And yourself, Tom?
I'm doing great. And folks, as you're listening to this interview or watching it on Tiger TV, when you go to our website at TFNN, just hit the Gold Fields banner. What you're going to see is a whole presentation as we go through this. Nick is over at the BMO Global Mining Conference in Hollywood, Florida. Educating folks about exactly what's happening with Gold Fields. Since the last time that we talked, Nick, I mean, it's pretty amazing what you have done with this company. Can you walk us through it?
Absolutely, Tom. Our vision way back when I took over almost 4 years ago was to create the global leader in sustainable gold mining. And a lot of people thought, well, what does that mean? And what it means is that we create a global company that really is in touch with the realities of today in terms of communities, in terms of accessing skills into the group, in creating a repeatable operating model that works across the world. And that's really what we were trying to achieve. And today, we've achieved a company now that, as you've indicated, has operations across the world and is in the process of bringing a growth pipeline together that will take this company up to 5 million ounces of production in the next few years. And that's really a tremendous move forward compared to where we were back in 2007 and early 2008.
And when we look at that, right now you get a solid base of 3.5 million, so you're still talking about another 1.5 million in the future, which is pretty incredible.
Absolutely, and what it's come about through is a detailed focus on exploration and discovery, and also really understanding the potential in our existing assets. And 3 years ago, I thought two of the mines, one in Ghana and one in the outback in Australia, was coming to an end. We had about 3 years to go, and we said, what are we going to do to change the outlook? And the team said, well, give us some more money, give us some more drill rigs, and we'll drill for you, and we'll find some more. Well, today, we're looking at the mine in Ghana, which is called Damang, which we thought had about 3 years to go. Now it looks like it's going to be around for 25 years. And the mine in Australia looks like it's going to go for at least another 10 years. The other thing that we've done is we've created a franchise which is unique to Gold Fields that says we focus on the all-in cost of production. What does it cost us to produce an ounce of gold?
Yes.
Capital, operating costs, a lot. And if we can make money after all of that, then we can actually be sustainable into the future, and we can pay dividends. And today, Gold Fields is the highest yielding gold stock in the world. Our dividend yield, in fact, is around 2.6%. So we give you a better return than what you can get in U.S. Treasuries, and everyone's piling into the dollar.
Sure.
And we give you the upside to the gold price, and we give you earnings that reflect significant upside potential versus the gold price. And that's just not talk, Tom, because if you look at the last year, the gold price in 2011 went up 29%. Our earnings went up 205%. Our operating cash flow went up 141%. So we've given the leverage to the gold price to investors.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, particularly, Nick, and folks, as you're following along with this presentation, it's amazing, because what has seemed to happen, and in fact, there's other folks that are giving presentations there that are saying, okay, our expenses have gone up so dramatically that the free cash flow in this business right now is not as great as some people thought it was. But, of course, when we're looking at you, we're talking about a gold price that went up 81% from 2008 to 2011, but your operating cash flow went up 141%. And now, how did you do that?
It's rigid cost control, first of all, and our costs in South Africa, for example, which make up around about 46%, 47% of our production, only went up 3%. That's our total spend, only went up 3% against mining inflation, which generally is anywhere from 10 to 15% per annum, depending on where you operate. And we had similar achievements in Australia and in Peru and in Ghana. It's rigid cost control. It's making sure that we operate safely, because if we operate safely, we generally operate productively. And that means that our working places are up to standards and that people know what they've got to do, and they got the confidence to do the right things because they know that their bosses are saying, if it's not safe, folks, let's stop, let's fix the problem, and then we'll carry on mining. And that way people feel that they're not being pressurized into just rushing headlong into producing tons every day, but they're producing it safely.
You know what's kind of neat, Nick? And folks, this is unique. I think it's unique, and I've interviewed plenty of folks in your business, right? What I've seen is this. Because you folks in South Africa, your minds are so deep, you're much more aware of safety. And it's kind of neat that you're going into different countries now with that aspect at top of mind. I mean, it's intriguing because, I see it and I hear it and you do it. And that's one of the most important things in mining, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you know what? It starts at the exploration stage, Tom, where, in fact, we start talking to the local communities when we got a few drill rigs on site. We make sure that we already invest 10% of our budget into local community projects and upliftment projects for those communities. We employ those communities to help us build a mine eventually. We consult with them before we actually build a mine and submit the environmental impact assessments. And then we actually employ a lot of those people when we're operating the mine. So they can see the benefits, and they can see too that from an environmental perspective, from a safety perspective, they're involved. They're part of it. So that when we run that mine, we're running that mine in terms of a franchise that everyone has had input into and everyone's bought into.
And we all know that when you run something as a franchise, everyone's a winner. I mean, there's a statistic out there, actually, in the franchise business, is that once a franchise is up and going somewhat over 10 years, now this is I guess any franchise, Nick, but it's amazing statistic that when that happens, the odds of success are 90 to 100%. It's pretty amazing, it really is.
It's a very simple recipe, Tom. It's just getting everyone aligned and getting everyone involved up front.
Yeah, and then, of course, the commitment. We all know that it can be the recipe, but when you have the commitment, as Goldfields has, as yourself has, it's pretty amazing because it does uplift communities. There's no two ways about that. Let me ask you something. The Damang project, that's pretty incredible that you got from 3 years to 25 years, right?
Absolutely. And it comes down again by looking at what we had. We were only drilling around about $1 million a year's worth of drilling way back when, which was really drip feeding the project and just giving us maybe another year at a time.
Yes.
And what I said to the team is, let's have a quantum view of this whole thing. Let's take a big expansive view of this, and what do we need to spend? And they said, boss, give us $10 million this year and see what we do. If we do good, give us another $10 million. And I said, right, done. And over the last 3 years, we've just drilled out the ore body. We found it goes much deeper, similar grades. We've taken a mine that was 1 kilometer across, and now it's 3 kilometers across. It's quite incredible, and it was always there, and we just didn't know.
Amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the Philippines. You got a high-grade gold porphyry there, right?
Absolutely. This is truly one of the world's premier copper-gold underground deposits. And what's really exciting about this one is that initially we thought it was about 1 kilometer across and 1 kilometer deep and quite shallow from surface, about 700 meters from surface. And then we started drilling out some more. It's been drilled quite extensively over time, but because of low metal prices and politics in that country that were not exactly conducive to foreign investment, it's never been exploited. Now, of course, all of that's changed.
Yes.
And the Philippines is very anxious for investment. So we got in there last year, and we drilled about another 27,000 meters of angled holes across the ore body. And we found that this deposit is even much bigger than what we initially thought it to be. So this is probably going to be, if we really optimize the mine itself and get it up to 40 million tons a year, which I think ultimately would be our objective, this is going to be in the top 10 mines in the world. It's going to be something really special for Goldfields. It's early days, of course.
Yes.
Watch this space. This is a high-quality deposit, and the authorities in the country are thrilled to have us there. The local communities around the area already are being engaged, and we've had that going now for a year. Coming back to my earlier point, let's get in early, let's build up people's confidence, and let's show them that we're going to do this in a way that's going to benefit everybody.
And, of course, you know, I mean, we have copper is running almost $4 a pound right now.
Absolutely. You're looking at a situation where you've got two commodities that we're mining together, gold and copper, and they come together so you don't have to mine them differently. When you take out the ore, you get both products. And the fundamentals for both gold and copper are looking better and better all the time. So I think this does bode well for us, and I think this can make a big impact in what is the largest island in the Philippines to the north of Manila, about an hour's flight to the north of Manila.
You know, when we look at what you've accomplished here in a few years, it's pretty amazing. I mean, because if we look back a few years, how much mining was in South Africa versus outside South Africa, and what's the expansion there?
Yeah, well, when I took over, the year ended 2007. I took over in April 2008. 67% of our mining took place in South Africa in 2007. And today, it's only 48% of our total mining. That's still too high in my view. Not that we don't like South Africa, and we're spending $1 billion building a state-of-the-art underground mechanized operation. But we don't want to be dominated by any particular region. So I think you'll find that South Africa will drop to 40% or even as low as a third. And that's a nice balance to have. And frankly, I wouldn't want any part of the portfolio to be dominated by any region to the extent of 40% or higher. So that makes sense for us. It's a country we still like to operate in, but it's a more balanced portfolio, and that's what one needs.
And you know what's interesting is that for many years they, you know, basically were saying that, okay, the production would be, meaning the reserves coming out of the ground would be going down substantially in South Africa. But that actually hasn't happened, has it, because of the price of gold?
The price of gold has actually given the industry in South Africa some interesting opportunities. And the 80 million ounces that I talked about earlier, or that you referred to, Tom, that's been set at prices which are around about 30 to 40% lower than what the prices are today. If we had to go and redo our reserves at mark-to-market prices today, in fact, that 80 million ounces would probably be over 90 million ounces. So it gives you an idea of the opportunities. And in particular, there's a mid-tier now, a mid-tier being created in South Africa of new producers who are quite keen to build up their capacity and look for opportunities at the more marginal end of the industry. And I'm really pleased for the country because I do think it'll help to create some jobs, which we sorely need, and also to provide some economic growth and change the perspective about the gold industry in South Africa from being a sunset industry to a sunrise industry.
Yes, and you know, folks, when you come over to TFNN, all you have to do is hit the Goldfields banner. And as you go through this presentation, you know, when I was going through it, Nick, I mean, it absolutely is amazing looking at the numbers, particularly, you know, looking at the South African numbers, number one, but looking at the diversity that you have, you know, in the business. And I guess when we look at the whole world, there's still many places, the places you're actually at, that have huge expansion opportunities, isn't there?
Absolutely. I mean, this is almost like running a football team, Tom.
Yes.
You've got to make sure that you got the right players on the pitch, and that they work in well together, they're complementary. But more importantly, a football team only wins at the end of the season if they've got a good bench as well, and they've got people who can come in and do the job. And that's the important thing, is we've got good people in this business, we've got a good set of assets, and at the end of the day, what I've discovered in the 4 years that I've been CEO of this company is that people ultimately make the difference. And we got fantastic people who are motivated, and that's our ethos, is to create an environment for our people to deliver. And I want to make this the best company to work for.
It's the Vince Lombardi of the gold business. It's a beautiful thing. I'll tell you, the way you have put it together from the start 4 years ago to where you are right now, it's absolutely incredible, Nick. Congratulations. You know, we look forward to having you back, Nick.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Have a great one. Have a safe one. That's Nick Holland, folks, the CEO of Goldfields. We're going to be right back.